Did you know that there's actually a format and style of California's budget bill? So, in the budget bill that's adopted each year prior to the start of the state's fiscal year on July 1st, there's actually a bill section that sets forth the format and style of the budget. In the 2025-26 budget bill, for example, these provisions are contained in Section 1.50. And Section 1.50 Subdivision A begins with a statement of legislative intent regarding compliance with three specified sections of the California Government Code. Subdivision A also provides in part that it's the intent of the legislature that this act and other financial transactions authorized outside of the Budget Act to utilize a coding scheme or structure compatible with the governor's budget, the records of the controller in his or her legacy systems, and Fiscal, the financial information system for California, and provide for the appropriation of federal funds received by the state and deposited in the state's treasury. In subdivision B of section 1.50, the budget bill actually sets forth the format and style of the budget. And it specifies that appropriation item numbers have a structure which is common to all of the state's fiscal systems. And it is defined as the first four numbers is the business unit, known as the organization code in legacy systems, and it indicates the department or entity. It gives as an example 2720, which represents the Department of the California Highway Patrol. Next is followed a three-digit reference code. The reference code indicates whether the item is from the Budget Act or some other source in its character. For example, it gives 001-100 represents state operations in the Budget Act. And the final part of the appropriation item is another four-digit code called the fund code. And for example, it gives an example that 0044 represents the motor vehicle account in the state transportation fund. Now, remember, although our budget bill is uncodified, that is, its language is not contained in any of the 29 California codes where the codified statutes are found, it is nonetheless interesting that the legislature places in law the format of budget line items and appropriations. As a result, when you're reading or citing the budget bill line item, such as 2720-001-0044 that they gave us in the budget bill, you'll know that this line item refers to a specific state entity, the source of its funds, and an account number. Now, Section 1.50 also explains that appropriation items are organized in business unit order. Moreover, all the appropriation items, reappropriation items, and reversion items for each business unit are adjacent to one another, and federal funds received by the state and deposited in the state treasury are appropriated in separate budget line items. Section 1.50 also authorizes our Department of Finance to to revise these codes or structures in order to provide compatibility between the codes or structures used in the Budget Act or in other spending authority outside of the budget, and those that are used in the governor's budget, in the records of the controller, in their legacy systems, and in Fiscal. Also, I think of interest is that Section 1.50 allows the Department of Finance to revise the schedule of any appropriation made where the revision is of a technical nature and is consistent with legislative intent. Now, it also goes on to say in Section 1.50 that these revisions may include, but are not limited to, the distribution of any unallocated amounts within an appropriation and the adjustment of schedules to facilitate departmental accounting operations. And these revisions shall include a certification that the revisions comply with the intent and limitation of expenditures as appropriated by the legislature. Finally, Section 1.50 allows the Department of Finance to make technical changes or corrections in Fiscal and or the controller's legacy systems that are resulting from or related to conversion or implementation of Fiscal for either the current or even past fiscal years.